was when Margaret asked me to do this, I said, okay, you know what I'll bring. And I got off the phone, and I just sat in prayerful reflection. And it just, prayer, don't leave home without it. And so I said, okay, we'll go with that. As good as any, huh? And we talk a lot about prayer. We do a lot of prayer, and there's different forms of prayer. And just tell me, what is prayer to you? Just throw it out. Just
Spiritual mind treatment.
spiritual mind treatment. What?
Talking to God.
Talking to God, communicating, talking to God. Different types of prayer. What are some of the kinds of prayer that
Being kind to people.
Aligning with God.
yes, aligning with God. What somebody else said?
Being kind to people.
Okay, kind to people. Very interesting. So it's like a communication to others as well.
Knowing the truth.
Pardon me?
Knowing the truth of the situation.
Bringing truth in to the situation.
Changing mind.
Oh.
Changing my mind about situations.
Yeah. Prayer has it. Yes, yes, yes. It's like we can't necessarily do that, but when God's action can get in there and do it, right?
Change your perception.
Yes. Change the perception.
Appreciation and gratitude.
Yes, we have prayer of gratitude, prayer of appreciation. We have intercessory prayer where we pray for one another. That is very important. You know, in that regard, that type of prayer, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but because I want to move on to a different form, but that type of prayer where we hold one another, where we intercede for one another, that's very powerful, very powerful. And you know, we don't even know why. Do we? Do we really know why and how intercessory prayer is so powerful? We only know that it is, and that it's important, and that when someone is praying for you, it matters, doesn't it? On my way over here today, I called my cousin who's in the hospital right now, a young man in his early 30s, that he almost died this week, and he had a near-death experience this week. And he wasn't supposed to. It was just, a complication from, it was supposed to have been a minor surgery. And he's at Jefferson right now. And I called him before I came, and I said, he said, he's from Greece and he speaks with broken English. And he said to me, Maria, I'm going to be okay now. I said, yes, Angelo, you are. And he said, I felt the prayer. I felt the prayer. You know, and I said, everybody is praying for you. He said, I know. That's why I made it. That's why I'm here. That's why I made it. I felt the prayer. And he had one foot out of this world, but it wasn't his time. And it was prayer that he felt, that is centering him. And he said to me the other night when we brought him into the emergency room at Jefferson, he looked up at me and he said, I'm safe now. God, I feel God. God is with me. God is in all of this now. And I know because fear fell over him. And I could see the difference that when we started to let people know and to just pray for Angelo, just pray for him, just hold him in prayer. He felt it, and it turned things around. So when we say something, when we say to somebody, how can I pray for you? Just take those words in right now. How can I pray for you? What does that do? How does that feel? How can I pray for you? Just feel it. Just let that come in. Just let that be. And I mean it. I mean it. I'm asking you, how can I pray for you? How can I hold you in prayer? And probably even just one request is going to rise. One thing you need. And if you would just put that into one word, whatever it might be, how can I pray for you? What do you need personally? You need from God. How do you need God to show up for you? Very personally. Do you need courage? Do you need to feel the love of God? Do you need peace? Are you walking through a valley and you need your hand held? Do you need light? Do you need some joy? Maybe forgiveness? How about calm? Just calm. Just let that in. Because in a little bit before I close, I'm going to ask you again. Just let that be. How can I pray for you? You know, Christ said, to pray. Pray to the Heavenly One. To go into your inner room, close the door, and pray. And the word that he used for pray there in the Aramaic was Shelah, if I'm pronouncing it correct, S-H-E-L-A-H. And so it's translated as prayer and pray. But in the Aramaic, the best way that we can translate it into English, because it's very difficult to translate a lot of the Aramaic words into direct English, into the English language. But the best way is to say, the definition is to open yourself up. That word, when Christ used that word, pray to the divine. Pray to the one. Go into your room, close the door, and pray. So many individuals through the ages, we try to interpret that and wonder what exactly does that mean, and through trying to figure it out, we've come up with different formulas and different ways of praying. But I believe, as was said earlier today, that God is here, right? God is in us, around us, living, breathing through us. So prayer must be simple. And I believe that Christ spoke that and opened up how simple it is by saying, open yourself up to the divine. That is the greatest prayer that one could ever make. To open yourself up to the divine. And going into your inner room, at that time, Christ was speaking to individuals that were very, very poor. The wealthy, there were some interspersed in the crowds, but for the most part, people were poor. And they didn't have numerous rooms in their house. They lived in one house. I mean, one room. Everything happened in that room, right? There was like, what their kitchen was over in the corner was, you know, a hole in the ground, and be able to put fire there, and they slept over in the other corner, and that was it, right? So it wasn't about talking about going into a room per se. It was going into this room, this space here, and open. Go in there and open oneself up to the living God and see what happens. Just see what happens. The cousin of Christ, John the Baptist, you know much about him? We know a little bit about him, right? He was a pretty wild guy. He's pretty wild. He's pretty fierce. I would love to meet that guy. I can't wait to meet that guy. I'm looking forward to meeting that guy. Okay. Because I'm sure he's not here right now, because his presence would be known. And very powerful spirit, very powerful energy, this man. And he was basically saying, wake up, you're all sleeping. Wake up, you're all sleeping in your religiosity. You're all sleeping in your religion. Wake up, and if you're not going to listen to me, there's going to be one that's coming after me that's really going to shake you all up. If I can't do it, he will. That's what John the Baptist was saying. Wake up. Some people woke up. Some are like, who is this crazy guy? They went back to sleep. Woke up for a little bit, went back to sleep. And one of the things, do you remember the show Godspell? Remember Godspell? 25 years for those that remember the original. Me! I remember! Okay, I was there. Okay, 25 years ago, this year, I think it's this year, or it was, or somewhere around there, a 25-year anniversary. The opening of that show, do you remember it? Wasn't it a fun show? Godspell, wasn't it great? If you haven't seen it, anybody in here have not seen Godspell? Have not seen it? You've not seen it? Gotta see it. Gotta see it. It will be, I think they even, here's a side, here's my little advertisement. No, I don't work for them or anything. But it might be, I think it's coming back to Broadway. It did for a little while. It's going to be touring because of the anniversary. See it. Anyways, for those of you that have seen it, raise your hands. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, well then you know this well. At the very beginning of the show, how did they open it? Do you remember? Remember? John the Baptist kind of, maybe depending on the theater, coming down the aisles, throwing water on people. Literally, throwing water on people. And he was singing. What was he singing? Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Remember it? Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Sing it. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. I'm an alto, I sing so low. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Now we're going to sing that again, not right now, but we're going to sing a little bit more joyful. Because I know you can do it. I know you can do it, but I just took you by surprise. That's okay. That happens a lot. But what was John the Baptist saying? What was he saying?
Open up. Wake up.
Wake up! What else is he saying?
Open up.
Open up. Open up. Open up your mind. Open up your heart. Open up your soul. Wake up your soul. It's been dead. It's been in the grave. You think it's gone. It's not. It is not. God says, I am the giver of life. I am the one that puts flesh and skin and breath on dead, dry bones. I open up the grave, wake up. And that's what prepare ye the way of the Lord meant. How? How? Prepare how? Oh, wait a minute. What do I do? Change my outfit? What do I do? Go. How do I prepare? How do I prepare? I go to my inner room. And for most of us, especially in this day and age, we need to still it a bit, you know? We need to just settle down. Right? We need to go to our inner room and sit, be still, and let God do God's work. It's very interesting because when we hear that, if we hear such a thing, someone's coming to visit, prepare. That whole concept of preparing means that, what do I have to do, right? I have to, when that whole message was the exact opposite. There is nothing for you to do. In fact, I'm saying stop the doing. I'm saying just let yourselves be. Be in the presence of the living God. Be. Go within. Open up. Get out of our heads. Right? Get out of these heads, these trains of thoughts that kind of drag us around. So that, yeah, we're sitting here physically, but we're somewhere else mentally, right? Preparing the way of the Lord, opening up to God. It's about being present. Being here. It's that simple. Being here, where God has placed us. You know what? We're not supposed to be anywhere else. Isn't that good? Isn't it good? There's nothing else for us to be doing right now. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. Just let that in. That's very freeing. So that if we can recognize that our path is being guided, and that God, it's like the wind, you know, there's many images for the Spirit, and one is the wind. And if you can just picture the fabric of who you are, and the wind of the Spirit blowing into that fabric, like a sail, gently on the deep blue sea, gently. And just allowing God to take you. The Spirit of God is like a breath, right? Gentle, giving life. What does that require of us? Nothing but to be present, to receive it. Spirit of God. What's another image that comes to you, thinking about the Spirit? The dove?
Earth.
Dove?
And waterfalls.
Waterfalls. The water, the living water. The dove, descending, flying, giving you freedom. Beautiful images that try to translate to us the movement of God within our lives. And as all we have to do is be still and be open. That is really the key. And in that openness, and from that openness, is where the other prayer, whether it be intercessory prayer, prayer of gratitude, prayers for healing, prayers for acceptance, comes from that place of, here I am, God. That simple place of, here I am. And God says, oh, great to have you. Wonderful to have you. So let's just sit for a little while and take it in.